If your symptoms after you ate carbs are a lot worse, your MS is not autoimmune, it is caused by infections. Many of us know that diet is really important, and we've been trying so many different diets, whether it's paleo or keto or Mediterranean or autoimmune diet. There are so many diets out there, and we've tried so many different things, but none of them have really made a huge difference. We might have noticed a little less inflammation. Maybe we've lost a few pounds. Maybe the burning is a little bit less. We've been eating clean for months, but we still have bladder urgency. And we've been having all of these smoothies, but we still wake up with drop foot, or we can have spasms or just weakness in our legs. So these issues that we're dealing with, it's not because we lack discipline. It is because we are not targeting the right diet. So it's not our willpower, it's not our motivation, because those of us that are trying all of these different exercises and supplements and also diets, we're still sick. So tonight I'm going to show you why the Live Disease-Free diet makes a huge impact on our symptoms, decreasing inflammation tremendously. Please type your questions in the question box that you have about diet, because diet is truly, I should say the right diet is truly the very first step to recovery. It's laying the foundation for a successful recovery. So different diets you may have tried. Maybe you've tried keto, which is really, really, really low carb. And it can help certain things. It's really great for people that are dealing with seizures. But the problem is that there's still too much dairy. So we might have a little less fatigue. Maybe our brain fog improves a little bit. But when we're still having too much dairy, which will feed the infections, it's not going to make a huge difference. It's not going to be like recovery, but it's definitely on the right track because we are lowering our carbs. Some of you, if you've had MS as long as I have, maybe you've heard about the Swank diet, which said that fat is the enemy. And nothing could be further from the truth. Maybe you've tried that diet and you found that it really does not help a lot. When we have a lot of carbs, our blood sugar is not going to be as steady. We're going to have the ups and downs of hunger and just not feeling well. It's just not the answer. Maybe you've tried Mediterranean. Yes, it's a healthy diet if your microbes are in balance, but it's still too heavy in grains, and there are hidden sugars. And then there's the paleo diet, Dr. Terry Wahls diet. I know she has several different versions. So yes, it's great to start taking out the processed carbs, but unfortunately, the paleo diet is still too high in carbohydrates, which we would get from root vegetables and too much fruit. So those carbs, and it's not a lot, but those carbs will still keep the parasites thriving inside of us. She does have a keto plus or like a lower carb, and that would definitely, you would notice more symptom improvements there. But what you need to do is find a diet that is geared around the cause of why we're sick. That's why the Live Disease-Free diet is so different. It's not about, oh, Pam, you made this diet and it's all about you. It's not about low carb or carbs are bad. It's about what is the state of your body? What is going on inside of you? And how can we make that less active? How can we make the inflammation go down? How can we naturally support immune modulation? So this is really important. So we're not going to starve. There's no diet that will completely starve the parasites, but this diet greatly reduces food to them. So they are going to be less active and you are going to notice a lot of symptom improvements. So brutally honest, the win rate with these diets is really, really low because it's not like people plateau after a while. You follow the diet, you might notice some symptom improvements possibly, but then you plateau. And that is where you're not moving forward anymore. And then people kind of go, okay, well, this is not enough for me. I want more. So most diets are built on the idea that your immune system is the problem, right? And we know in the Live Disease-Free plan, in the Live Disease-Free diet, what we teach is that your immune system is not the problem. So what we want to do is we want to support the immune system. We are not interested in just removing triggers or trying to calm the immune response and hoping that inflammation goes away. We know that the definition of inflammation is your immune system is fighting something. And the primary job of the immune system is to defend us from infections. So that's its primary job. It's working really hard. We can assume in most cases that is the culprit. And so we're not wanting to suppress the immune system. We're not really targeting like just inflammation. We're trying to make the cause more quiet. So our immune system is doing its job. It's just defending us from an infection, from parasites, from dysbiosis, which we're really out of balance. And what we want to do is we want to support the immune system. We want to take some of the pressure off. We want to decrease the war so that there's less collateral damage. And that's really the very big difference. So when we are following different diets and we notice that, for example, like, let me know if you've noticed a difference. If you eat more sugar, do you find that your symptoms get worse? If you are stress eating, do your symptoms get worse? Maybe you're on vacation. Have you guys been on holidays where you eat a little bit more processed carbs, maybe a little bit more desserts, and you really suffer more on your holidays? Maybe the late night binging and then going to bed, and in the morning you feel like you were hit by a truck. So all of these things are feeding the problem, the cause of our symptoms, the cause of the disease, and that's why we feel worse. This is not a coincidence. This is just common sense, and it's really the result of fueling the infections that are living in our body. Carbohydrates and simple sugars are the favorite source of energy for all the parasites, whether it's worms, protozoa, fungi, or bacteria. So why the Live Disease-Free diet works so well, it works far better than any other diet, and it also works better than any treatment. I know this because I have coached thousands of people, and every time people start to change their diet, they are blown away with how much better they feel. So the plan is about getting 30 to 40 total grams of carbs per day. That is the sweet spot. I know keto goes a little bit lower, and we're not having grains. So we're not having even quinoa and even flax, amaranth, like no gluten grains for sure. So no grains and no sugar. The only dairy that we're having is butter, and also no caffeine because we do not want to stimulate the parasites. Moderate amounts of clean protein. When I mean clean, it's like protein that is in as close to its natural state as possible. So animal protein. So this would be any kind of meat, any kind of, like, even ground meat is fine as long as they haven't added anything to it. So avoid bacon and ham and sausage and all those kinds of where the fillers and sugars and different things have been added in. Low carb vegetables. We can have lots and lots of low carb vegetables. I have a little itch on my nose. There we go. So lots of low carb vegetables. And things like peas and corn and potatoes, the carbs that you know really are satisfying and stick to your ribs, we're not having those, all right? Because those are going to be more complex carbohydrates. When we have a lot of parasites, we're not digesting them well, and they will become food for the parasites that are living inside of us. So lots of healthy fats. The parasites do not love healthy fats. It actually is not their favorite food at all. So as we decrease the carbohydrates in our diet, we are increasing the healthy fats, because if we want to maintain our calories, if we don't want to lose weight. All right, so we're eating probably at least 4 tablespoons of healthy fat with a meal, sometimes more. Lather on the butter. The homemade mayonnaise is fine. Extra virgin olive oil is really great. It is also antimicrobial. We can have extra virgin cold pressed, I shouldn't say extra virgin, but cold pressed organic coconut oil, MCT oil, avocado oil. Just get good quality fats. And increasing them, they give you energy. They will help you to maintain your weight. And one key thing is that some people think, well, I can just eat more meat because that's not a carbohydrate. If you eat too much animal protein at one sitting, it makes your blood sugar go up and you'll feel awful. For women, about 3 to 4 ounces of animal protein per meal. For men, about 4 to 6 ounces of animal protein is sufficient. And for men, if you are dealing with a disease like MS or other, and you're still working, you're struggling, but you're still working and you need the extra calories, you can eat 4 meals a day. Just don't have a lot of protein, like excess protein at one sitting. That way, like what our goal is to do is to keep our blood sugar steady. We're not going to be in ketosis. We're just in the low normal range. So we feel absolutely wonderful. Even people that are in ketosis, like if they do it properly, it's not a problem. But we're not worried about measuring ketones or staying in ketosis. We're just interested in like, where is our total grams of carbs? We might measure it for a day or two. We just follow the Live Disease-Free Diet guidelines that I have on my website for you at no charge. You can use them. You can start to change your diet. You can start seeing symptom improvements in a week to 2 weeks. Some people have even said in 3 days. No caffeine because that stimulates the parasites, and lots of healthy fats and lots of low carb vegetables, especially the leafy greens, because they are the lowest in carbohydrate. If you have inflammatory bowel disease, which some of us do when we have chronic disease, it's really important not to eat raw vegetables. So avoid the vegetables that you know don't agree with you, but then also just make sure to steam, saute, oven roast, or stir fry the low carb vegetables that agree with you from our list. And you'll see the cheat sheet there. And when you work with us as a shopping list, there's a lot of great details. So that's really important, is to get your carbs down low enough and be consistent. And if you are dealing with inflammatory bowel disease, just avoid the vegetables that don't agree with you. It could be even meats, whatever. We become sensitive to certain foods. And that's for all of us. If we have leaky gut and we're sensitive to anything, just avoid it, right? There is a COCA test, a COCA pulse test that you can measure your resting heart rate if you like. That's online. And it's just COCA pulse test where you can look and determine food sensitivities. So this is no guessing. You are literally following a very clear laid out plan. The first things we notice that start to improve are people find that their bladder urgency significantly improves. And this can be within a week. They might be getting up 6 times a night, and then all of a sudden they're getting up once or twice a night. And then they're starting to sleep more, and then they're not as sleep deprived. And then they find they have more energy. Their cognitive function works so much better. They start to notice they're stronger. They start to notice they have less muscle spasms. Their balance can improve. Their pain can start to significantly decrease. There are so many benefits to decreasing this raging inflammation in our body. And it's not just because we want to decrease the inflammation. In the Live Disease-Free plan, we want to treat the root cause, which are parasites. So this is just the first step to get ready to treat. And so this creates this environment where microbes, they start to lose their fuel. They're not as active. Inflammation starts to decrease. Energy starts to come back. And suddenly, our symptoms are starting to shift. Very quickly, there is no treatment that will give you this level of symptom improvement that the Live Disease-Free plan, or I should say diet, gives when your carbs are low enough, right? And so all the little fine tweaks that we have in the Live Disease-Free diet are because we know, like, too much avocado will feed the parasites. Sure, avocados are higher in fats, but they still relatively, they're too high in carbs. So a slice or two of avocado, maybe a quarter of an avocado cubed up on a big salad is not going to be a problem. But having a half an avocado with a meal or a whole avocado is too many grams of carbs at one sitting. Things like peppers and tomatoes and carrots and avocados, they would be like a garnish on a very large salad, not servings, because they're too high in natural sugars and carbohydrates. So with all of these, by decreasing the carbs, we start to notice that our symptoms are starting to shift. And a lot of my students say, wait a minute, I'm starting to feel so much better and I haven't even started treating yet. I'm going to share a few successes that just came in that just were shared on our call yesterday. We have our live Q&A call of our students that are in the class. So this is not theory. This is reality. We've been doing this for 10 years of adjusting this diet, fine tweaking it. It is available to you for free on our website, livediseasefree.com, under diet, Live Disease-Free Diet Guidelines, under research. So even before our students start to treat the parasites, they notice that their tingling in their feet starts to really diminish. They find that they can climb. I've had one student that I still remember her sharing that she was wheelchair bound, and she was actually able to start taking steps up the stairs. They can stop feeling like ice blocks, so circulation starts to come back. And I mentioned the bladder urgency can dramatically improve very quickly. Brain fog starts to improve significantly. Spasms decrease or disappear, usually not fully disappear. Usually people have to treat also, but they can significantly soften. And then people start sleeping most of the night and they're able to fall back asleep easier. So this is not a miracle. I mean, the body is a miracle that it can still respond that well after it's suffered with infections and toxicity for so many years. But it's really that inflammation is going down in the body. So even people, it's not even just that the students themselves are noticing symptom improvements, but they're sharing that their spouses are saying, wow, you're walking better. You're walking taller. You're walking straighter. You don't seem as tired at the end of the day. You're more yourself. You're happier. You're laughing more. It takes the pressure off. The toxins, the inflammation in our brain it affects our mood, depression, anxiety, foggy head. So we start to see our personalities coming back, feeling like our old fun self again, just with diet. It's so brutal that people don't know this. Please, please try this yourself. It's not going to cost you anything, but of course, eating a little bit healthier food, but it doesn't have to be all organic. If you would like to do organic, just make sure that the organic produce looks good, that it's not brown and wilted. Don't buy it then because it'll be very deficient in nutrients, but try to buy the best quality of produce that you can buy in food, but it's just food as close to its natural state as possible. So biggest obstacles, what makes most people fail at diets, it is not ignorance, it's real life. So maybe we're out or there's birthday parties. We have a pretty big family and there's birthday parties all the time. And so the kids have a birthday party, maybe you make a cake for them and you have a piece of cake and then you suffer. You're dragging your foot stronger the next day. Maybe you are trying to work yet, or you're just exhausted and you order some fast food, or your partner, your spouse orders fast food and you cave into it and you eat it. And you notice that your arm is starting to feel this buzzing sensation. You're having more brain fog again. The social pressures, we're invited to our friends and we don't want to be a bother. Be a bother. They love you. They just say, I have some dietary restrictions. Let them know ahead of time. They will make adjustments for you. But if you don't, then you find, because you don't want to be the difficult person, then you're eating what is served and you will pay the price, right? The next day with more of your symptoms being stronger, or even just feeling like you were hit by a truck. So you know these patterns, you have seen them in your life, and this really proves how important diet is when we're dealing with MS and other chronic diseases. So food is not neutral, right? When we have parasites, carbohydrates are not neutral when we are infested with parasites. The Live Disease-Free diet works because it is decreasing the carbs enough And that is where we're still really enjoying our food. Like you'll find that your food can taste really good. Men love the diet because you can still have meat, but we can still use all the delicious herbs, and the healthy fats make food taste very satisfying. And also having the healthy fat, our blood sugar, the protein in the healthy fat keeps our blood sugar steady for several hours. So it is very comfortable. It's just simple. It's delicious. When you allow your taste buds to change, you will notice that you're like, I love eating this way. It makes me feel energetic. It makes me feel so good. I enjoy what I'm eating. It tastes really good. And if you give your taste buds a little bit of time, you won't go back to the old diet. Like I don't like fast foods. I don't like desserts. Like desserts are so sweet. They just do nothing for me. And that's because 37 years ago now is when I gave all of that up. Can you believe that? 37 years, that's a long time. So, could I have a little taste, a bite of something and I go, that wasn't even worth it, right? Because I don't like it. Your taste buds will change, I promise you, if you give them enough time. And it doesn't take very long. So this is not a trendy diet. This is not something that's going to come and go. This actually works, and it's really important. It's not going to treat the parasites, but it is going to give you the greatest relief, more than any supplement, more than any treatment. And it's going to make you so that you are ready to treat. That's a very big part of getting ready to treat, by making the parasites less active, making you stronger. So if food didn't matter, none of us would feel worse after we ate some sugar, or after we had pizza night, or maybe we had some wine, some beer. And that is really because these things are fueling the cause of the disease, which are parasites. So it's like gasoline on a fire, versus when you follow this diet, it's like putting water on the fire. So it's not about restriction, it's about giving your body the support it needs so that you can take back your power meal by meal, day by day. And so when you finally remove the fuel that's feeding the disease, your body shows you quickly that it still knows how to heal. And this is really important. When you start to notice that your drop foot is, like I'm going to share one student, her drop foot just resolved just with the diet. So don't feel that all of your disability that you have is permanent, because it may not be. It usually is not. It's just that there's so much stress on your immune system that it's not able to deal with it. So the Live Disease-Free diet is not only clean, it's the most clean diet out here as far as it's healthy, it's natural, but also it is the greatest reduction in the food to the parasites. So what I'd like to do right now is you guys go ahead and type your questions in the question box, and I am going to give you the diet guidelines. So if you go on our website, livediseasefree.com, and you go in the main menu, it says research, you will see that there is a link to the Live Disease-Free Diet Guidelines. And there's a little short 3-minute video that says the do's and don'ts. There is a cheat sheet, and I'm just going to read from that diet. I think I've explained some of it already, so I'm not going to go into great detail on it, but it's nice to know where it is. It's called LDF Cheat Sheet. You probably can even just Google search it, LDF Cheat Sheet or Live Disease-Free Cheat Sheet. And the first page kind of gives you the food groups that you like, the general food groups and what you should avoid and what you can have. So we talked about the sugar, which feeds parasites. We exclude all sweeteners because some sweeteners, they may not make the parasites more active, but they keep your sweet tooth. And then you are going to be, you will continue to be craving sugar. So I want you to be free. It's called freedom. When you don't need caffeine, when you don't need sugar, and you feel really good and you feel really energized, that is called freedom. So as far as fruit, parasites don't care where the sugar comes from. If you eat a lot of fruit, which is high in sugar, it will feed the parasites. So we do really restrict the the fruit. It's listed on the cheat sheet. Eggs are fine. If you're not sensitive or allergic to them, they're very, very nutritious. Vegetables. So again, dealing with inflammatory bowel, cook your vegetables. If you can tolerate raw vegetables, have a combination. Have a couple, like I like with supper time, I like to cook 1 or 2 vegetables, and during lunch and breakfast, I will have more raw vegetables. The yeast products, we would avoid them. Grains, we would avoid all grains, because if you're not digesting the grains, they will be food for the parasites. Nuts and seeds, there's a list of the ones you can have, the ones that we should avoid because they're higher in mold count. But just know that nuts are harder to digest. And if they're harder to digest and our digestion is compromised by these infections and we eat too much of it, then we end up, or they become food for the parasites. So really careful with nuts and seeds. Very small amounts, that would be like 1/8 of a cup, or just a very, very small handful once or twice a day. Don't eat them before bed, because your digestion slows down at night, and that will become food for the parasites in your large intestine. Alcohol, we avoid all alcohol. It is a mycotoxin, which your liver has to detox. And just know that a lot of the parasites are already producing alcohol and different other poisons. So your liver is already working hard. Don't give it any extra work. Fermented foods, we find at the start just raw sauerkraut is tolerated quite well. Avoid the other ones because they can contain yeast, like the kimchi and kefirs. So just start with the raw sauerkraut, small amounts. Everything you do, introduce it slowly. Do I tolerate it? Listen to your body. If something doesn't agree with you, stop eating it. Do not take it. Very important. Beverages, filtered water, naturally caffeine, herb teas are fine. Sparkling water. We just got one of those, like those little machines that sparkle your water, because I just like plain sparkled water with lemon, fresh lemon or fresh lime juice. That's my favorite. And then the kids might have a little splash of a different juice in it, but I don't even like that. So those are some different drinks. Butter is totally fine, or ghee. And virtually any meat, as long as it is not altered by humans. So just avoid bacon and ham right now, unless you're absolutely certain that there is no sugar added. There usually is. The more simple you can have your diet to start off with, the quicker you will start to see symptom improvements. And we can have, I'll just kind of throw a few ideas out there. There are lots of meal ideas. I've got videos on that page also. But what I like to eat for breakfast, I like leafy greens, like a really large serving of leafy greens with lots of extra virgin olive oil. And I will have a couple of eggs. And actually in the last little while, I'm kind of getting tired of eggs. So I'll just go in the fridge and I'll just grab some, like maybe there was some chicken that was left over, or the hamburger, or some kind of hamburger soup that I have. It doesn't have to, it could be meatballs. Maybe you've made some homemade sausages. It doesn't have to be like eggs. But if you like eggs, they're super nutritious. I do usually eat them. We have chickens, love the farm fresh eggs. But sometimes if I'm in a rush, or if I just want to change just any animal protein, that's why it's good to batch cook and have leftovers in the fridge so you can grab things really quickly. But just lots of leafy greens, extra virgin olive oil, and then having a small serving of sauerkraut on the side is really great. Maybe for me, because I'm used to it, start smaller, but maybe up to 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup. Even having that on the greens tastes really good because it has almost like a little bit of a vinegar taste. So that's delicious. That'll last me for a few hours, usually till lunchtime, or I'll just grab a very small handful of nuts. This is something that I haven't really mentioned before, but I saw a video, hopefully it's not AI generated, but with raw nuts and seeds, like they had worms in them. And I would not be surprised, because even garlic can have worms in them. And it might not be the kind of worm that lives in a human, but it probably doesn't hurt to oven roast your nuts and seeds like before you eat them. Just lightly roast them. that could possibly get rid of any kind, and mold I think would be a bigger issue with nuts and seeds. Be really careful. Like with pecans you get from Costco, that they don't have the black dark spots on them. That would be mold. Otherwise you're ingesting all this mold, and then you can have mold issues too, besides the other parasites you're dealing with. So, and also the vegetables, like if you buy the tubs of the lettuce or the arugula or different greens, make sure that they're not rotting. If you see black in the lettuce, that means bacteria and maybe other pathogens are growing in it. Don't eat it, because you're just going to be taking it in, and that's going to be hard on your immune system. So make sure the vegetables are washed, they're fresh. Don't take anything for granted. Just give it a quick wash and spin it, and then make sure not to eat vegetables that are rotting, because that is bacteria and possibly other microbes. So that's an overview of the first page. And then the second page, we're working up to 9 to 13 servings of vegetables per day. And the total grams of carbs is less than 50. But the sweet spot where our students notice the biggest symptom improvements is between 30 to 40 total grams of carbs. If you get down to 30 total grams of carbs, it's like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. Like, trust me, give it a try. You will be really shocked. Again, with the healthy fats, make sure they're good quality. Don't buy cheap oil, because I keep hearing like the olive oil is not really olive oil. They just put a bunch of cheap hydrogenated, like heated oils that are in, and they're calling it olive oil, or even the avocado oil I've heard too. So get from reputable companies that are organic, cold pressed. It's really important. We talked about inflammatory bowel disease, and we talked about all of those. So you can just look at the guidelines on the second page. And again, listen to your body. If there's anything that doesn't agree with you, don't eat it. And you can do that coca pulse test if you want. All right, so meal ideas to carry on. We talked about breakfast, what I like to have for breakfast. For lunch, I always have like a big salad. So a heaping plate of salad. And so I will throw whatever leftover meat we have in the fridge. I will cut it up small. It's nice. I shouldn't do this, but I have a very busy load. So I usually am eating while I'm working, and it works well that way. So it's really easy. If I have a salad, like a big bowl of salad made in the fridge, I can just throw it on a plate, and then you can add some herbs that are, maybe you have some parsley or some cilantro or any kind of herbs you have in the fridge. Be careful with the nuts and seeds. Don't add too many, because if you're adding nuts and seeds there and you're adding them for a snack, that the carbs can add up quickly. But just have a large salad, things like celery and cucumber, some onion on it, a little bit of garnish of the other vegetables I mentioned were higher in sugar, like the carrots, peppers, tomatoes, and avocado. Just a garnish, just a sprinkle. Cherry tomatoes are quite high in sugar. Take a couple of cherry tomatoes and cut them into quarters and sprinkle it on your salad. So it's kind of bringing color and flavor. And then you can make the homemade mayonnaise recipe where you make a creamy Caesar salad dressing. You can make a ranch dressing. You can just have I like the best extra virgin olive oil plus fresh lemon and fresh lime on the salads. That to me tastes really good. Just be careful with store-bought salad dressings. We want to avoid vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is fine. And then for supper, we will have like some kind of meat. So you can make meatloaf. You can have a roast in the oven, chicken in the oven. You can do chicken thighs on the barbecue. You can do chicken on the Traeger. You can do a rub on it, spices. You can do Mexican flavors, Italian herbs, Greek curries. There's so many different flavors you can have, but you're just not having and so like, for example, a taco salad, that's something that we're going to make tonight. I cook the hamburger and I like saute a bunch of onions too, so it makes the meat a little bit more moist. And I've done it for so long, I just know to throw on some cumin and of course salt and pepper and paprika, and also paprika and chili powder and cumin. And I like to add some oregano leaves onto that also, and just let that simmer. Oh, we also like to add in some hot pepper flakes so that it's a little spicy and that tastes delicious, and just let it simmer. And you can put that on a salad. right? You can put that on top of a salad. With guacamole, be very careful again because the avocados are quite high in carbs. So like a tiny little bit of guacamole on top is fine, but too much guacamole and you're going to go, I don't really notice any improvements with the diet. So these foods are not unhealthy. I'm not saying you should never eat them, but I'm just saying that if you decrease the carbs enough, it's life-changing. It's setting the stage for the next step, which is to treat the parasites, to recover, and then you can have more of these foods again because they're not going to bother you anymore. Obviously, I've never gone back to beer and pizza. I don't even want to. I love my life. I love how busy I am. I've got 8 grandchildren, 11 years old and under. I've got horses. I'm working way more than full time, too much. We're really working at this. We've got a team that's growing. We're going to make a big difference. We've got some really exciting things this year. This is our 10th anniversary of serving people, thousands of people in many countries in the world. And we are going to be having some fun. We're going to be like, it's really exciting with all the things we're going to do. So those would be the 3 meals. So with supper, I'll have some animal protein. And so for meatloaf, I like to just buy ground beef, and a recipe that my dad, who passed away, really loved is like we put onions in it, salt and pepper, of course, some cloves, which are anti-parasitic too. And then just like crumpling up a bay leaf. So that tastes really good, just not too strong on the bay leaf, and the cloves, just the right amount. And I just kind of know, I don't even have a recipe, I just do it myself. Steaks are good. Try not to get the steaks at Costco that are mechanically tenderized because they are taking this instrument and it's like going from one meat to the next piece of meat, and it could be transmitting parasites and pushing it into tissue. It's not a sanitary thing to do. So I would avoid meat that's been tenderized at Costco. It's really unfortunate. I wish they wouldn't do that. I understand they're just trying to be helpful, but parasites are on meat and then they're just pushing it deeper into the meat. I'm going to see if you guys have any questions for me. Let's see. Hello, carbs make you feel tired, Gary shared. Yes, because as soon as the parasites are more active, more toxins, more inflammation, and you will feel more tired. Linda, do you find that mast cell activation decreases? Yes, with the diet or when the parasites are used, both. So the thing is, like, when you start to research what mast cells are, they are part of your immune response to infections, to parasites. So when they're activated, it's kind of like when your immune system is activated, you shouldn't be saying, how can I stop this mast cell activation? They call it a disorder. It's not. It's like, how can I support my immune system so it's not working so hard? Like, why are my mast cells so activated? What are they fighting? That's what you should be asking. So if you decrease the activity of the parasites, inflammation goes down. And so you will notice that the symptoms of mast cell activation, it's not a disorder, they're just activated. You'll see that they will become less. It's not going to be completely resolved because the parasites are still there. And if you have things like high stress or lack of sleep, maybe not constipation where you're not having daily bowel movements and toxins are building up, then sure, your mast cells are going to still like be working more. But yes, with the diet and with treating, your mast cells won't be activated because they're soldiers and they only work when they have to work. The body is just so amazing. We would avoid beans, legumes like dried lentils and beans and any type of dried bean because the carbohydrates in them, we don't digest them very well, but the parasites do. So they will feed the parasites. So they're not unhealthy for you, but when you're dealing with a lot of parasites, they will feed the problem. You just won't notice any symptom improvements. Thank you, Jimbo, for your kind words. Christy, you're so very welcome. Please take me up on this. And if you join me next week, report back to me, like, are you noticing any improvements? But go all the way. Just give yourself 1 week and try to get your carbs down to 30 total grams of carbs per day. There's a Chronometer app, Chrono meter, Chronometer app. It's free. You can download it on your phone. You can just on a day when you're not busy, like you're not working or you don't have errands, just type in there everything you've eaten in that day. It will tell you how many total grams of carbs you've eaten. Make sure to set it to total, not net. Net takes the fiber out. You want to measure total grams of carbs. And then you can kind of go, oh, wow, I'm like at 35 total grams of carbs. I'm really close, right? Or you're like, I thought I was close, but I'm at 50. You probably won't really notice a difference there. The closer you get to 30, it's like, oh my gosh. Hello, Genia. Hi, Carissa. Yes, it is totally. The body is a miracle. You're so very welcome. Thank you for all your kind words. Are mushrooms allowed on the Live Disease-Free diet? So when we have MS and we have other chronic diseases, fungal overgrowth is always a problem. So we don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. Did the fungal overgrowth, was it a bigger part before some of our, worms issues, or was it protozoa, like which came first? We don't know. But we know that when we are really out of balance with our microbes in our body, that fungus thrives in that environment. It loves to, like all the waste from the worms, and the worms are releasing their bacteria. So it loves garbage. And so fungus is a big part of chronic disease. And so it's very important that we, like, to get success quickly, we want to simplify things. So when you're eating fungal foods like mushrooms, they're not going to cause a fungal infection, but the fungi that's living in you, whether it's mold, yeast, or combination, they could benefit from the building blocks, like when your body's breaking down the fungus. So, and your body is sensitive, it's overwhelmed with worms, protozoa, bacteria, and fungi. So we just want to take that away to be on the safe side, right? So the more you can just eat safely, the quicker you notice symptom improvements. If you're like, well, I'll just have this sausage or this bacon, I think it's okay. And you're just like, I don't know why I'm not noticing any symptom improvements. And that's because you're still eating too many carbs, or you're eating foods that could still be causing the inflammation not to be decreasing. So if you eat raw vegetables or raw salad, really is not, if you can't eat raw vegetables or raw salad, it's totally fine. So like you can totally like steam, like I really like steamed spinach. Don't eat spinach every day. It's hard on your thyroid, the oxalic acid, but just rotating greens. You can lightly steam the greens. You can cook, oven roast, stir fry, saute your vegetables that agree with you, and steam them too. So all of that is fine, but just don't eat raw vegetables if you have diarrhea, or if you eat them and you're just like, oh, I feel stomach pain, I feel bloated. We've had so many people that were so sick, not just diarrhea, but incontinence, to the point where they had to have, like, the husband had to work and they had to get help in the home because it's terrible. And she totally is having regular bowel movements now. So again, low carb, cook the vegetables that agree with you, and you will start to notice that will start to really settle down. And then in the future, you will be able to eat raw vegetables again. Do you think an infectious disease will develop in the next, I don't know what you're saying there. Do you think that AI will, I think that's what you're saying, maybe AI will come up with something that they'll be able to develop it and it'll cure all diseases like MS? That's a hope and a dream, because it's really hard to find one treatment that will treat a 2-foot worm or multiple 2-foot worms, plus protozoa, plus bacteria, plus fungi. So no, I don't believe that. I do believe that we probably will have some frequency therapies that might help to heal us quicker. So like that will make our immune system stronger. So right now we have a lot of assaults on our immune system through what they're putting in the air. I won't say the name of it, through the different shots that we're supposed to take, through our food is so heavily processed. And also the wireless radiation, like it's really, and it's getting stronger. They're going to go to the next level right away here. So there could be frequency that therapies that are getting better that will help, like to help bring energy back, balance, like the scalar energy back to our bodies. That could possibly be helpful. But again, we don't have to wait. We can clean up our environment, like decrease the wireless radiation, doing heavy metal detoxes at the right time, but treating the parasites. But you're right, it's not only about treating parasites, it's about rebuilding the good microbes. It's about supporting health with everything from nurturing your soul to balance and managing stress and being active, right? Getting sunshine, which is so helpful. It's the best source of vitamin D. We're in Canada. Actually, the month of January, we're getting a lot of sunshine, which is really unusual, but February will probably get hit with cloudy weather the whole time. But just to get what I see in the students that have MS and other chronic diseases, it's not just MS, is they have hundreds of worms. One student just shared she's past 800 already, and that's not uncommon. And you're thinking like, yeah, right, Pam, how is that possible? Well, if your digestive tract is the surface area of approximately a double tennis court, think of that in your mind, how big that is, a double tennis court. You can fit a lot of worms on that. And sure, it's all crunched together and it's stuffed in your abdomen, but it's like bent over and folded like a sausage, right? And they hide in little, under biofilms, in little areas that they're hiding in, like curves, or so it is challenging to treat them. So no, I don't believe that there is going to be, I think that's pie in the sky, like, because that's just saying MS is your immune system and we're going to fix your immune system. No, your immune system is not the problem. Your immune system is really good. That's why we're recovering. That's why I've lived 35 years. Use common sense. When people find us and they start looking into the Live Disease-Free approach, they're like, Pam, this makes so much sense. This was like, where was this? I've never seen this before. Most people have still never heard that parasites cause MS or that they're even linked with it. They have no idea, and it's brutal. You're on the Mediterranean diet. It is a healthier diet, absolutely, but if you have chronic disease, you will have more symptom improvement on the Live Disease-Free diet. And so I don't know which fermented foods trigger your vertigo. Don't eat them for sure. But if you get your carbs down a little lower and you're just having raw sauerkraut, but you might just want to start with like a half a teaspoon, right? Because like, I don't know which ones used. Like, I don't know if they were dairy or not dairy, but listen, it's good that you are listening to your body for sure. How do I contact? We don't have a clinic. So what you would do if you want to learn more about our plan, the Live Disease-Free plan, how we're helping people recover, which I'm going to share a few successes right away, make sure to watch my masterclass training. I share all the steps we take to recover. All right, so all the steps are there. I share a lot of research so you see that this is all science-based. It's so frustrating that our doctors, a little side note. So one of our students has a condition called cotton wool spots in his eyes. And I've never heard of that before. They're like, our students can have everything. And so he's like, he just was at his doctor and they don't know what it is. And it's like usually associated with diabetes. And I'm like, that sounds a lot like fungus to me. It's like a chronic, it's not like a huge like changes in symptoms. It's like a chronic thing. And so I just spent a little bit of time researching, maybe an hour, and I found that people that have systemic candida infections, it's really linked with this eye condition. So candida gets into our eyes, and other fungi can too, but candida is a fungal infection that a lot of people that have chronic disease, especially MS. It's been linked with MS for 40 years. And so like I literally found all these studies linking like high likelihood of candida getting into the eyes and all the damage it causes, multiple studies, plus directly linking that people that have high candida in their body, that is linked with this condition. It affects their retina. And then I looked at his infection survey. So we gather a lot of data on our students. So we're looking like, oh, he has all these symptoms of fungus. And his LDL was high. Like it's been high. Like that is linked with inflammation in your blood vessels, right? And that is like vasculitis. And what's causing the inflammation in your blood vessels? Infection in your blood vessels. So he's got lots of fungus. He's got lots of inflammation in his blood vessels, and we know that candida, and he's got lots of fungal symptoms, and the condition he has is linked. And it's like, that took me maybe an hour. And I will have that resource for my students, for anyone else, but not just them. But if you're dealing with issues, with vision issues, sometimes it's fungus. We had one student who took an antifungal medication and he no longer needs to use his glasses anymore. He was like, what? And he just like, I can't wear my glasses anymore. So it's not, think about your body. It's not just fungus. It's not just Lyme disease. It's not just these big worms. It's not just protozoa like malaria, babesia. It's a weedy garden inside of you. And it's so like in your garden, you don't just have dandelions. You've probably got 10 or 15 different types of weeds in there. That's the same thing in our body. Our gut, we're out of balance. And so we do have to treat worms, protozoa, fungi, and bacteria. And then we start bringing back the good. We get the pests out. We decrease them. We can't sterilize our body, but we decrease it so far that we feel amazing. And then we use all of these wonderful, health promoting practices that we know that we should be doing, like exercise and balancing our life and like all of these things, drinking filtered water and, having our diet clean and not eating too many processed carbs, like none, decreasing that tremendously. But if you don't treat the parasites, they will not leave. There's no diet, not even ours, that will get them out of your body. A couple more questions and then I'm going to let you go. So yeah, you can watch the masterclass. If you feel like, oh my gosh, Pam, this is what I've been looking for, then you can just fill out the form and we will get back to you. And then you just can book a time to chat with me to make sure it's a good fit for you. We will send you the coach-a-thon, which really explains the process in great detail, like all the steps, like how do I find practitioners? How do I access the treatments? How do I treat these parasites? All of that is explained in the coach-a-thon. So when you and I meet, it's really about looking at where you're at, what you've done, what your goals are, and starting to help you to get ready to build that treatment plan. And the thing is that we're not doctors. We are health coaches. We are guiding you. We are giving you the right information that is validated in science and through thousands of people we've worked with. We are equipping you and empowering you so that you play that active role, so that you are in charge of your recovery, but we're guiding you through the process. And then you don't need me in the future. It will save you thousands of dollars on healthcare in the future because you will know, number one, you will keep yourself out of the hospitals and out of the doctor's office just by managing your microbes and living a healthy lifestyle. But you will be able to save a lot on supplements because you'll know what supplements are not worth it. You'll know how to take care of yourself. So if we have another, these wild viruses that we had that really shut the world down, you will know how to take care of yourself. Yes, there are things that are bulletproof that will take care of us, but people don't know it and it's been so heavily censored. So it's not just about diet, but I'm talking about the first step. So get rid of caffeine is a tough one. Yeah, so start to add in, like if you're drinking coffee, then just start with add some decaffeinated coffee beans. So it's like half. Start to slowly decrease the caffeine. Don't just quit cold turkey. You'll get a headache, right? It won't feel good. But it's so nice to be free, to not need caffeine. My husband, who doesn't need to be off caffeine, he also has given up caffeine because it was like, I'm like, why are you shaking? And it's like the caffeine making you shake and just hyper. So it's much nicer not to feel like that. If you want to go back to caffeine after, you can, but it will stimulate the parasites right now. It will make your inflammation worse. And this has been known by other doctors. It's not something that I came up with. So just slowly work your way down. You don't just go cold turkey. But you had to do it because it triggers your vertigo. We talked about that, just making sure, listening to your body. You were told not to eat much spinach because of osteoporosis. So too much calcium in spinach. I don't think it's the calcium, because our students that have osteoporosis, they're taking food form calcium to help build their bones. So we've had a number of students that have joined our program that had osteoporosis, and just by decreasing the carbs, right, and making the parasites less active and treating the parasites, and then just having like a multivitamin mineral from plants and some extra calcium, their bone density improved dramatically without any medication. The parasites produce a lot of organic acids, and those organic acids, they cause us to be more acidic. So our body doesn't want to be acidic. It can't live if we're too acidic. So it will use up a lot of minerals to keep us in a safe pH range. And so that's why we become very deficient in minerals. And I believe that's the biggest cause of the osteoporosis. And so if you actually treat the parasites and just eat a healthy diet with lots of, alkaline minerals in the vegetables and things, and a supplement to fill in the gaps of what's missing, not a lot of supplements, just a multivitamin mineral plus calcium, you'll notice that your bone density gets better finally. And then, of course, weight-bearing exercise is important. So do you end up herxing when you cut out the carbs and the sugar? No, you actually start to feel a lot better. If you have a lot of cravings, they will decrease probably within like less than a week. They will start to decrease. So what we're doing is we're keeping our blood sugar steady. So it literally, you can feel worse if you're constipated. So we want to keep the bowels moving. And our students do use a supplement to keep the bowels moving, because you can find it on our website, Oxy Powder. It works really well. It's better than magnesium citrate. You can use magnesium citrate, but most of our students that have chronic disease, they have a lot of parasites and it's not strong enough. So ozonated magnesium, which is Oxy Powder, works really well. So if they are, drinking enough water and their carbs are going down, they just feel better. You don't herx. You only herx when you are treating too aggressively, when you are using therapies that aggravate a parasite but don't kill it, or if you are eating too many carbs, or if you're eating something you're sensitive to, because then you're dealing with food sensitivities because of your leaky gut. But this diet does not cause any herx reactions. It will just help you to feel better, which is so wonderful. This diet is so powerful. Listen, that they know even with cancer, which is an infectious disease also, and I can't remember if it's MS also, but they know that giving metformin, I'm pretty sure that I saw that it's helpful for MS too. I do so much research, but for cancer, for example, giving metformin is a drug that decreases blood sugar, and that with parasite drugs, even with cancer, they notice it's really helpful. So instead of taking a drug that has adverse effects, why not just decrease your carbs? And then you don't have to have the adverse effects of the drugs. You can still eat super healthy. It doesn't cost anything, just other than keeping you healthy. It is the way to go. But they know that. But they probably feel like, oh, people aren't going to change their diet. Well, the people I work with, they're so hungry to get their life back that they change their diet. And it's not that hard once you get going with it. You're satisfied all the time. You're not hungry. That's the big thing. How do you find out the amount of carbs again? Chronometer app, CRONO meter app. Change the setting to total grams of carbs, not net grams of carbs. So what about menopause, night sweats, heart palpitations? Are they contributing to, just do a Google search, live disease free and hormones. And you will see my blog post. I did a video about this, a live event a few weeks ago. Hormones or I should say the parasites are impacted by our hormones tremendously. So it's the fluctuation. So at certain times of the month, they're less active. At other times of the month, the parasites are more active. So the day sweats, the night sweats, the mood swings, the irritability, the bloating, all of those things go away when you treat the parasites. So women that are on hormone replacement therapy, they decide to go off of it, and they're like, they treat and they're like, oh my gosh, I guess it was parasites because I don't have those symptoms anymore. So if your microbiome is balanced enough and you have basic nutrition, menopause is not a thing. Women like myself, I went through it and it's like, oh, I guess I'm done. Like, you won't feel it. It is the parasites. And the bad thing is that the practitioners are not looking for parasites before they give you hormones. And if they give you hormones, it actually makes matters a lot worse. Go to that event, watch the video, or go through my notes and you'll see. All right. So yes, we should do heavy metal detoxes, absolutely. But in our program, we're not doing heavy metal detox until we are feeling a little bit better, right? We're not going to stir up the metals until we've decreased the parasites a little bit and we're feeling better. What if your LDL is low? Well, your HDL should be higher. If your LDL, I have a resource where students look and they really understand cholesterol a lot better. But if your LDL is a little bit low, I don't know anything about you, Clarissa. I'd have to know your health history, what you're dealing with. But changes, I don't know what your diet is like either. So, eggs are super healthy and they're not going to cause cholesterol issues. Look at your HDL. Your HDL should be higher. That is your good cholesterol. But just know that the vast majority of changes in our blood work where we're in the abnormal range are consequences of our microbiome being out of balance. And when you correct it, then you find that you feel better. Last couple of questions here. Can I eat plain yogurt? Not when you are in the recovery phase. If you want to recover, not live with disease, but recover, the dairy, we avoid it. The protein, the dairy protein is very similar to gluten protein, and people are sensitive to gluten. It's to do with the parasites. So we avoid it at the start. Butter is fine. Ghee is even better. How do third world countries deal with this? So they treat parasites in third world countries. We don't treat parasites in developed countries. That is the sad reality. That's why we're so sick. That's probably why there's more MS in the developed countries and not in, of course, we have different parasites in different countries, but they understand that parasites cause disease. They treat their people with parasite drugs. The parasite drugs are very often over the counter. And in developed countries, it's like, even integrative practitioners, they're like, why do you think you have parasites? It's like, the vet is treating my dog for parasites. I've seen worms in my dog. Like when I'm treating him, these worms transfer from dogs to humans. Like, how do you not think I could have parasites? Or veterinarians that work with sick animals that have parasites all the time. And then when they're in their 50s or 60s, they're so sick because they're so infested. It's ludicrous. Okay, you're very welcome. I'm going to let you guys go. We've gone on longer than normal. So if you like what I've shared, please start to change your diet. Report back to me next week. Tell me if you started to notice symptom improvements. And also please like, share, and subscribe. It really pushes this video to others, giving them hope. And when you get to that place that you're like, Pam, I know I'm dealing with parasites. I need help. I don't have a practitioner that will help me. Just watch my masterclass training. It gives you all the steps we take. Then you'll be able to watch the coach-a-thon, and then you'll see if it's a good fit for you. And I would be honored to support you. We have a lot of, I didn't tell you. Okay, I'll just go really, really fast because this is really huge. So the first student, I'll just summarize it really fast. Only 1 week following the Live Disease-Free diet religiously, my drop foot is no longer an issue. My energy level is amazing. The next student sharing, The feeling is coming back in my feet. So she was at a 1 out of 10 for feeling, like virtually no feeling in her feet. Just in the last week, it's at a 4 out of 10. She says, I can wiggle my toes again. Just diet. The next student feeling stronger and more energized following the Live Disease-Free diet. She's also doing these oxidizing enemas, starting to pass worms out of and small parasites out of her intestines. The next student, just so much. So her ears are no longer itchy. Her eyes are no longer itchy. She had a lot of pain in her ears, dry throat, which would wake her up at night, gone. She's actually back to running. Feeling something. She used to have a feeling in like something moving in her legs at night. That's just about gone. Sleeping well at night. No more bowel incontinence or diarrhea. Random pain in her heart. This is a lady that's past 800 worms. Random pain in her heart is gone. Only one-time occurrence daily. Hardly ever happens. It used to happen once a day. It hardly ever happens right now. She had a lot of gut issues, gas, stomach pain, and the incontinence, which is gone. Her eyes would be sticky. She'd get up at night and it would be really hard to open her eyes. Now that's gone also. And just back to running. Where is it? I don't have it here. She said, I am back to running 1 mile every other morning. And when I take my 3-mile walk. So she's going for 3 miles of walking and she's running every other mile. Amazing. So this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about recovery. Please look into what we do. I've got an amazing blog post on livediseasefree.com. It is your library. It is your answer. Go through the topics. Look at the worms our students are passing. It will blow you away. You'll be surprised when you start doing it. Like, oh my gosh, that's living in me. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. I'll be back next week. Please share the successes you have with changing your diet and watch the masterclass training if you are ready to start treating. Until next week, take care and bye-bye for now.